YouTube. What's going on, everybody? Long time no talk to. Raptor Gaming here, bringing you an updated Blue Eyes deck profile. Hopefully this becomes a little bit more consistent as far as posting goes. I plan on posting more videos and not taking such a long break, although life has had its own fair share of opportunities of delaying me from doing so. Anyways, I'm trying to come at you with a little bit of a different build from what I see people playing, and I realize that it's Blue Eyes, and so hopefully we can try to at least change it up for you a little bit. I'm still working on another build or two in the process, just to kind of switch things up even more, and maybe even do like an updated branded Blue Eyes deck from like my previous lists in the past. So hopefully you guys enjoy. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know of any changes you think you would make. And yeah, without further ado, we'll just get right on into it. Starting with the main deck. We play, of course, we are on triple copies of the mighty Blue Eyes White Dragon himself. Fun fact, I just recently went to my first regional, and these were flagged because the signature touches the attack symbol, the ATK part. So that is why we have briefcase ones. Let me know in the comments below. I've heard a couple people say that I should have contested it. Let me know what you think. Should I have contested it? Should I have fought it and said, hey, you know, no big deal, it's a vanilla? But anyways, we are on 3. We are playing like Seto Kaiba himself. Spoiler alert, we are playing a Kaiba Man build, and that is the primary reason why you play 3. And then not to mention, like, getting a full like 3 pop off of Majesty is super easy, so it just makes sense to play 3. Not to mention, it's Blue Eyes, and you get to play 3 like the anime, so let's have fun with that. Next, one big bad boy Chaos Max Dragon. Just one, and I feel like summoning him actually does come up sometimes quite a bit. If your opponent cannot just out this monster, you can just banish the Majesty, summon him, and sometimes he'll just win you the game. We were playing one Jet Dragon. Jet Dragon, it comes up so much, and like anymore, I try to use the Roar spell to bring this out to help protect the field, rather than just another Blue Eyes play. Obviously, it's a recovery Blue Eyes play if you need to, but Jet just really works saving you from board breakers, a lot of board breakers, or popping the True Light specifically. Because the one thing that you have to make note of is that these cards say they cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So they are not protected from the True Light destruction effect. So I do think Jet is very good to play at 1, maybe 2 at most. Next, we're playing one Kaiba Man. I'm playing around between 1 and 2 of this card. I think 3 is going to be a little overkill, but if you've seen Cyriax's profile, he plays 3 and seemed to work for him, so I wouldn't knock it. I just think that it gets a little cloggy at more than 2. But it is definitely a card that's kind of nice to see and not necessarily have to search, so I don't know. Maybe we'll play around with the ratios a little bit more on that. Triple copies of Maiden. This is the best card in Blue Eyes to come out for a long time by far. Being able to place True Light, summon a Blue Eyes by being targeted, and then just all around being able to summon herself back out of the grave. It's like everything you would ever want out of Maiden of White. Next, we're playing triple copies of Sage with Eyes of Blue, Heart and Soul of the Searcher of the deck. Basically being able to search your Maiden, search your Kaiba Man. We are trying not to go with a heavy hand trap build, so I played next to no hand traps. Spoiler alert on that as well. One Kaiser Seahorse. I still think this card is very good. Being able to go into spheres to get to your Maiden, get to your Jet, get to your Chaos Max, put it in the grave, put a Blue Eyes White Dragon in the grave. Sometimes that's just super relevant. So it's basically, in this deck especially, it's a Foolish Burial for so many different variable options that come up quite a bit. Next, triple copies of Wishes. In this build, Wishes is amazing, and if you can activate Wishes and resolve it, chances are you have a Magia off of this one card. Well, in the discard, but Wishes is really good. Puts the Blue Eyes Ultimate into the grave off of the Banish effect, and then you're usually searching Kaiba Man to normal summon and then get the later search to search the Chaos Max. So really, really good there. Next, we are playing the one Mausoleum. Got to play it. One Ultimate Fusion and the one Roar for the spells. These are the bricks, but you got to play them. And Ultimate Fusion makes wishes, also the one card wishes, because you search this and the Kaiba Man, and there's the rest of your pieces. So there's that. And to finish off with the Blue Eyes stuff, one True Light, one Majesty. This card is super good not to play. Being able to reset it, pop cards, and quick effect, banish it to Ritual Summon. Sometimes comes up, but more often than not, you're using the pop effect, and it's really, really good. Fun fact, you can side this out if you know you're going second. It just doesn't really resolve as much going second. I won't say it never does, but it's usually a pretty safe bet, especially with Ultimate Fusion. You know, it's easy to keep your wishes in with that. So next, Pyromite package. This could easily be switched for Invoked. I think depending on the scenario, Invoked can be really, really good. But Pyromite is still really good. Arguably a little bit better. Triple Barrel, Triple Lordly Load, and Double Beam. So I find myself all the time in testing and in playing games to where I will have a load and a barrel, and I will hold the load. I'll literally just try to use barrel's effect, normal summon, set the load effect, search this. But I find myself needing a second copy more often than not, just to like search, because if you're going like mid to late game, normal summon barrels, set a load, or load activate to search a barrel, like just feels not super productive. So having a second beam I feel like is really nice. And then yeah, so definitely that's kind of the ratio I've landed on. And then to follow up here, we are playing a small Fiendsmith engine, which 2 engraver, and I honestly kind of want to bump this up to 3. I just don't know what I'm going to bump out for that third copy. This is a 40 card deck, and I am trying my darndest to keep it there. But it's getting pretty hard. 1 Lurie, and then 2 Tract, even though I don't have the second Tract at the moment. It's coming. But in theory, this is really, really good, because this is the engine that says no to Nibiru. And Nibiru is what essentially turns off a lot of your like big plays. Granted, I'm not playing like the heavy synchro package, but when you think about it, when you go to like normal summon and stuff, like obviously you can play around Nib, but it's just such an inconvenience. And then not to mention playing this package and playing the Wave King means that you can stop other summons, not necessarily just Nibiru. So it's still a double summon negate, which comes up a lot. It won me a game single-handedly against Draco Tail once already. So that being said, I do feel like this is a really strong engine, and it's going to be pretty accessible. So I feel like it's really just a good engine that does kind of the best of everything. No Lacrima, no Trap. Can't really afford the bricks. And then there is a level 1 light tuner that you can search and make it a fiend. It's like Alotropus, I think is the name. And I would consider throwing that in here as well. But at the same time, you don't want to conflict with the Kaiba Man extra normal summon, because that's essentially what it usually turns into. So I kind of go back and forth with that card. Next up for board breakers, we're playing 2 Super Poly and 1 Triple Tactics Talent. This card is just the best card in the game, I feel like. Being able to either draw 2, look at your opponent's hand, shuffle 1 back, or take control of a monster non-targeting. Super, super good. I feel like you got to play it. I would honestly, if this card came off the ban list, I'd probably still play it at 2. But really, really strong. I don't think I'll ever cut it. And then 2 Super Poly, because Super Poly just breaks boards this format. And being not once per turn and non-respondable to, because your opponent cannot respond to Super Poly, makes it really, really good. So, and then lastly, to round off the 40 card, Triple Imperm, the only hand trap I'm playing. In my opinion, still the best hand trap in the game. The most flexible hand trap, being able to activate all 3. You know, you open all 3, you get to activate all 3. Still a monster negate at the end of the day. Resettable by Tyrant. Can set it, negate a column. Still really, really good. My favorite hand trap. So, that is it for the main deck. We will go off into the extra deck here. Starting off, we'll go into the double spirit and the 1 spheres. I feel like a lot of people play 2 spheres, and I have yet to need to go into the second one. Even when I was on Hand Trap Blue Eyes, because I've been playing a lot. Hand Trap Blue Eyes. I've tested Invoke Blue Eyes. I've tested quite a few different builds. And I don't. It's very, very rare to go into a second spheres for me. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm doing something differently from others, and I'm not saying like it can't happen. I'm just saying like for me, it just doesn't really come up, or like if it does, usually the game is kind of over at that point anyway, I feel like. And then 2 spirit, I feel like you have to play 2 spirit just because sometimes you utilize the second one to go into your spheres, to link off one of the the level 1 tuners that's a spellcaster, just to get to your second dragon for your spheres. So next we'll go into the Fiendsmith package, which is 1 sequence, 1 requiem, 1 DDD Wave King, which is obviously the MVP. Stops Nibiru, stops 2 summons a turn basically. 1 Necroquip. Have to play this card even though it'll turn on the Nibiru. If you have to go this route to pull off the King Caesar, you will already be susceptible to nib. But the thing is they have to nib you at that point to stop this from coming out. And then obviously the Desiree, as like you're kind of going second. I mean, you can make it going first too, depending on if you feel like this is stronger than this. But this is usually my go-to, and like the whole point of the package is to like help protect from like nib and other things. Just having a double negate card for essentially 1 card is kind of all I'm after too. And then of course the Blue Eyes stuff. We're playing the 1 ultimate for the Magia, and then the 1 Tyrant, because Tyrant is Tyrant. Tyrant breaks boards, resets traps, unaffected by traps. It's really kind of an all-around great card. And then being 3,400 attack gets over just about anything in the game that you could want to get over. So yeah, just 1 of each of those. And then super poly targets. 1 Mud Dragon of the Swamp and 1 Garura. I'm opting just to play the generic ones in the main. And then obviously you can switch these out. I'm going to show you the side deck for what we switch those out for in just a second. And then to round off, 1 spirit and 1 ultimate spirit. I do want to bump this up to 2, and I want to fit in an Azure Eyes again. I feel like that's really, really good. I'm not sure what I would do. I would also think about maybe a Chaos Angel here or there. I don't know, but then if you're going to put in Chaos Angel, you might as well put in the Lacrima, so maybe not. But yeah, I feel like summoning and making this plus an Azure Eyes is really, really good, especially if you've already made the Magia. It's going to protect the Magia, this, and Azure Eyes, obviously, being able to revive a Blue Eyes and keep going. So, I feel like adding those 2 would be really, really nice. I just don't know what I would cut here. Maybe if I cut the Super Poly. I just feel like this deck's biggest problem is being able to break boards. And so I want options to just flat out break the board. Usually if you go first, you can establish enough of a board. It plays around the Mulch Armies really, really good. It plays around any hand trap really, really well. It's just if they combo the hand trap with like Nibiru, then you're kind of in a rough spot to where you're making not so much. But side deck, we'll just go ahead and move on to the side deck. 1 Secretarian Dragon, pretty much hits Dracotail. 1 of the Primite Fusion. I cannot pronounce his name, but he essentially says no to Yummy. That's the main reason he's in here. You can get all the way up to like where he'd turn off level 3s. Level 2s is really, really easy to get to as well. So if you're going against like frogs or something. And then Primite Fusion. Being able to side this in to get to this with essentially a barrel is really, really good. So enough said with that. That's kind of just to counteract the meta currently. And then we're still playing triple Lancia. Malice is still a thing. And honestly, anything that banishes cards is kind of a problem for this deck. So we want to turn that off and say no to banishing. So Lancia is a good side deck option. Next, we are on more board breakers. 1 Lightning Storm, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster. I might bump this up to 2. The side deck I'm still kind of working on a little bit, or still fine-tuning as far as like this last portion goes. And then obviously the side deck fusions could change too. Triple evenly. I feel like if you can just break the board going second, you really don't have a whole lot of issue taking control of the game. And then giving up your battle phase isn't really that huge of a deal. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're going like +6 off of this one card, or +5 or whatever it is, and you just get enough advantage to go, you know, to follow up, to like set up a drill beam and set up an M-perm or whatever, set up a couple negates, like you can just take control of the game. So focusing on board breakers there for going second. And then going first package, triple D-Bear, 1 skill drain. These could be judgments, they could be strikes, they could be whatever your preference is. Right now I just like D-Barrier because I feel like everything this deck loses to is primarily focused around a specific type of either synchro or fusion specifically, or ritual, just one of those types specifically. If you can call that, usually it's enough. And then skill drain. Skill drain has auto won me like 3 games in a row. Being able to just turn off everything. And Blue Eyes has no problem carrying an attack power game, as you well know. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys liked it. I want to, like I said, I want to kind of incorporate the Azurize and the Spirit Dragon. I think that was, or is, a really good touch to the deck. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are, and hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.